From the Frank Beck Chevrolet Studio Annex, it's Wednesday night, and that means it's time for Time Out Over Time on the Time Out Over Time YouTube channel. I'm your host, Rick Arsenal. First things first, if you haven't done so yet, as always, if you thank you, first of all, for watching and listening. Please get down there in the corner, down there, and smash that like and subscribe or like and share button. I can't thank you enough. Uh, as you saw in the headline, Major League Baseball, on an experimental basis, of course, will be doing something this spring that's been going on in minor league baseball now for 5 or 6 years, and that's using robotic umpires to call balls and strikes. We'll get into that momentarily. Also, Jeff Risdon of Lions Wire has proposed a hypothetical, he terms it hypothetical trade that we'll be talking about too. So majority of time we'll be taking up talking about that. So before we go any further, I will take a sip of water here. Wet the whistle. Oh, that's good. That's only water. Let's do this. You know, Frank Beck Chevrolet, our great sponsor, is thanking loyal Chevy owners with big savings during Chevy Loyalty Month now through March the 3rd. Loyalty Chevy owners can save an extra $1,000 on brand new 2025 Blazers, Colorados, Trailblazers, and Silverado HD models. Plus, 1.9% financing available on select models. Bex also has a great selection of late model pre-owned vehicles at fantastic prices. You check out their entire inventory on their webpage at frankbeckchevy.com, or better yet, stop by the dealer on M99 between Hillsdale and Jonesville and get in there and let them help you experience the Frank Beck difference. And while we're at it, as always, I'm going to remind you of a very special event transpiring on Saturday morning, April the 12th, from the Frank Beck Chevrolet showroom. I want you to circle it on your calendars right now, because this is Beck's annual Maggie Fry Scholarship Breakfast. This year, it will run from 8 to 11 a.m., as I said, in the showroom, and will feature yours truly and Andy Brown doing our show live and direct from the Frank Beck Chevrolet showroom on Saturday morning, April the 12th, from 8 to 11 for breakfast, Maggie Fry Scholarship Breakfast. Circle your calendars, put it in your phone, do what you ever have to do, but for gosh sakes, we want to see you out there. I'd like you stop by and say hello, and it's a great time for a great cause. The Maggie Fry Scholarship Breakfast. Saturday morning, April the 12th, from 8 to 11 at the Frank Beck Chevrolet showroom. We hope to see you all out there. I'll be reminding you about that with each podcast I do. Bob Flynn, while we're at it, wanted me to remind you that Beckathon has been extended. So you can still get in there right now and save an extra $1,000 dealer cash on all remaining new 2024 models in stock. You can also get an extra $3,000 dealer cash on all select used vehicles in stock. You get in there and let them help you experience the Frank Beck difference. Chevrolet, together, let's drive. Chevy Drive, Southern Michigan. And indeed, Frank Beck Chevrolet is the number one Chevrolet dealer in the tri-state area. Thank you. Quickly, big win for the Spartans last night over Purdue. The Boilermakers are reeling right now. They've lost 3 straight. So it turns out then that they were maybe a fraudulent team, not the same team that we thought they were earlier, but this is the bad time of year to for this to happen. And you know, they say it's not how you start, it's how you finish. That's true. And so yeah, Purdue has lost 3 straight. In fact, they're in a tie right now, I believe, or maybe even dropped down to 4th or 5th place in the Big Ten standings, with Maryland coming out like they are. By the way, Michigan State, besides playing Michigan a couple of times, they do have a road game at Maryland. And that won't be an easy task for them. Maryland's pretty good, especially at home. So if you're looking at it right now, then two teams are actually, well, Michigan has a half game lead on State, but Michigan is 12-2. State is 12-3. And of course, they're playing for first place on the line Friday night, uh, 8 o'clock on the Fox Network. Maybe the most relevant game these two teams, these two basketball programs have played in a good number of years. But let's hope for a good game. It should be a good game, and thankfully it's on Fox and not on Peacock. We don't have to worry about streaming it or anything like that. So Friday night. Quickly, Pistons at 29-26 will get back into action on Friday night in San Antonio. Red Wings 28, 21, and 5, 30, 61 points. Will get back in action this weekend with a doubleheader, if you will, at Little Caesars Arena. They got a 12:30 matinee Saturday against the Minnesota Wild, and about 30 hours later, they will have a 6 p.m. game on Sunday when they host the Anaheim Mighty Ducks. So get you caught up with that. Baseball. As I said, we will be talking about this ABS system shortly. Let you know how that's going to work. Quickly, I want to run this by you. I was doing a little research here today. Of course, don't forget too, a couple of things to run by you. The Four Nations Face-Off championship game will be tomorrow night. Team USA versus Team Canada, with everything on the line tomorrow night. They're playing for a trophy. And how successful has this been instead of the All-Star game? It's been a big hit. So much so, as I mentioned the other day, the NBA might seriously look at doing something similar to this next season, maybe USA versus the world or something. So Four Nations Face-Off championship game tomorrow night in Boston. The San Diego, I still want to call them the San Diego Chargers. I'll never get used to them being the Los Angeles Chargers. We do know now, while the schedule hasn't come out, that Jim Harbaugh's team will be playing in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And the fact that the Lions are on their schedule this year means we know one of the opponents won't be the Lions. I initially thought the Lions would be playing a game overseas this year or abroad. I'm beginning to have my doubts about that. Of course, we won't know exactly until when the season comes out, the schedule comes out, if you will, in early May. So, but Jim Harbaugh does know that his team will be playing in Sao Paulo, Brazil this year. Of course, next year the Rams will be playing in Melbourne, Australia, as the NFL wants to expand its global venues to cover the world, I suppose. Maybe it's their yearning to have teams all over the world eventually. It looks that way, doesn't it? Quickly, I want to go over this. Free agency starts on March the 12th. And while it is a pretty thin free agent class this year, I made a list of 9 free agents and where I thought they were going to end up. And sadly and unfortunately, the Lions are not on any of these teams list that I've got listed here. I've got Sam Darnold, who's a free agent. It's possible the Vikings could bring him back. I've got him going to the Raiders. T. Higgins, the great wide receiver, the Cincinnati Bengals. I've got him ending up with the Commanders. Josh Sweat from the Eagles. Led the Eagles in sacks this year with 8. He is a free agent. I've got him eventually winding up in Carolina. Ronnie Stanley, I've got going to the Bears. DJ Reed, another fellow I'd like to see with the Lions. I've got him ending up with the Patriots. Khalil Mack. The thought is the Lions might consider bringing him in. I've got him ending up in Tampa Bay. Chris Godwin, formerly of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I've got him ending up in Arizona with the Cardinals. Nick Bolton, I've got him ending up with the Patriots. Remember, the Patriots have a lot of money to spend right now, and their new coach, Mike Vrabel. Carlton Davis, I'd like to. I thought about this one for a while. I like nothing better than to see the Lions bring him back. Look, he's going to want a long-term, lucrative contract, and that's very out of character for Brad Holmes to do that. He normally will sign an older player and give him a 1-year deal. I've got him going to the 49ers. And the last player, and that's it. That's going to be it. Those 9 players, and like I said, unfortunately, I don't have any of them ending up with the Lions. By the way, before I forget to, today is the 21st anniversary of the Pistons big trade executed by Joe Dumars when he brought Rasheed Wallace in 21 years ago today. And of course, as you know, that would end up in the Pistons winning a world championship in 2004. And the trade that kind of raised a lot of eyebrows at the time. I remember when it was announced 21 years ago on February 19th. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. And as I say, that it worked beautifully for the Lions, for the Pistons rather, because they ended up winning a championship in 2004, NBA championship. A couple of other things here. Is Brad Holmes, as he looks to the next week, you've got the next weekend in Indianapolis, you've got the scouting combine, February 27th through March the 2nd. As I said, free agency starts on March the 12th, and that's kind of the beginning of the new NFL season when free agency starts. Ask yourself this question: is Brad Holmes overrated as a general manager? I ask that because you have to look at the last 2 drafts. With the possible exception of Christian Mahogany, who was taken in the 6th round last year and didn't play very much. What little bit we saw of him, I thought he was very impressive. His last 2 drafts, so far anyway, have not produced much of anything at all. Now, I understand that the last couple of years, when you're drafting at the bottom of the heap compared to the top of the heap, it's probably a lot tougher, and then there won't be as many premium players at the bottom as there are at top. But I just think this is a significant offseason for Brad Holmes. He needs to have a good free agency period, and he needs to have a good draft. And 2, I thought about this too. I'll leave you with this. The Lions' window of opportunity to get to a Super Bowl, I think that window is slowly closing right now. In fact, I would say right now, as the Tigers and Lions both head into their 2025 seasons, I'll say it right now. I think the Tigers have a better chance of making the playoffs than the Lions do this year. If you look at that Lions road schedule, it's your worst nightmare if you're a Lion fan. Not only are they playing, of course, Chicago, Green Bay, and Minnesota on the road, the other 6 games that they're playing 9 road games this year compared to 8 home games. Let's look at the quarterbacks they're facing. Jalen Hurts, they're in Philadelphia. They'll be in Washington, taking on Jaden Daniels. They'll be in Baltimore, facing Lamar Jackson. They'll be in Cincinnati, facing Joe Burrow. Oh, we're not done yet. They'll be in Kansas City, going up against Patrick Mahomes. And they'll be out in L.A. at SoFi looking at Matthew Stafford again. I think the Lions right now, the best case scenario for them would be 10-7, maybe even 9-8. And I don't even know if that'd be good enough to get you in the playoffs. It's very depressing. Plus the fact that they've had a complete overhaul in the coaching staff. How will the coaches blend in with the players? What kind of chemistry will they have? That's to be seen yet. We don't know. But there's just too many intangibles for the Lions this year. To the schedule, the coaching staff. Like I said, we don't know who they're going to bring in free agency, who they're going to draft. But you get a little depressed when you look at that schedule. One last thing about the Lions too. You got to remember, Lee McNeil, who got hurt on December the 15th. I'm not a doctor, but when you tore an ACL, best case scenario is a 10 to 12 month recovery. And so obviously Lee McNeil is not going to be ready for the start of the regular season. If the Lions are drafting at 28, unless they move up or trade down, if I were Brad Holmes at this point, it could change. Defensive tackle Derek Harmon out of Oregon. That's the guy I would target right now. And if he's still available, if Harmon is still available, and you're picking at 28, and then they've gotten to about 24 or 25, somewhere in there, I definitely look to trade up and get this kid. He's 6'5", about 315. Looking at last year, he had 27 solo tackles, 5 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. I think he'd be a big addition to the middle of the defensive line. And like I said, especially if they're not going to have a Lee McNeil to start the season. And Levi Onwuzurike is a free agent if they don't bring him back. Man, the middle of that defensive line right now, and DJ Reader will be a year older. He did not have a good second half of the season last year after McNeil went down. Derek Harmon is a name to remember, though, for the NFL draft. Let's see I'm anxious to see what he does at the combine next weekend, too. Keep your eye on one Derek Harmon, the big defensive tackle out of Oregon. Food for thought, anyway. Okay. Let's do this quickly for Tim Lindley at Quality PC, and then I'll give you a brief resume as to what the ABS system is all about spring training this year. Tim Lindley, Quality PC in downtown Hillsdale, 37 Waldron Street. All your technical needs. I've gone over this before. Computers, flat screen TV mounting, programming. Maybe you're changing internet providers, printers, new or used, anything at all. Please get in there and see Tim. Quality PC, downtown Hillsdale, 37 Waldron Street, directly across the street from Fat Jack's Automotive, 517-610-5372. If Tim is not there, he has 2 very capable assistants in Jeremy and Colin, who are more than capable of taking care of any issues you have. So please get in there and see them. 37 Waldron Street, downtown Hillsdale. And when you do, tell them me and Mickey sent you. Will you please? Thank you very much. ABS, Automatic Balls and Strikes Challenge in spring training this year. It's something minor league baseball has been using now for the last, 5 or 6 years, since 2019. How's this going to work? Each team will have 2 challenges, okay? You can't challenge a ball or a strike from the dugout. A challenge has to be initiated by one of 3 people: the pitcher, the catcher, or the batter. And it has to be done directly after the umpire makes the call. How do they challenge it? They tap their helmet or their hat. The pitcher, the catcher, or the batter. And they have to do it. They can't wait. It's got to be done immediately after the umpire makes the call. He will then have the technology with him. Okay, I don't know, something in his ear, whatever, or he'll have a device, whatever it is, that they can go back instantly and look at that through this robotic system. He'll know right away if he got the call right or not. Each team will have 2 challenges. Now, if he got the call right, and the pitcher or the catcher challenged it, or the batter challenged it, his respective team will lose that challenge. That means they've only got 1 challenge left. If the team challenging gets a favorable call, they will be able to retain that challenge. They shouldn't slow down the game at all. As I said, they've been using it now in spring training for the last 5 or 6 years. The closer as we progress through spring training, we'll be talking about this, but so far it's been very successful at the minor league level, only on an experimental basis this year in spring training. If they like the way it works in spring training, there's a good possibility, very high percentage possibility for the 2026 ABS, Automatic Balls and Strikes Challenge System. Hey, if you have the technology to do this, why not? And the only time you're going to see this challenge is, I think, maybe in a key situation, very relevant part of the game. They think the umpire made an egregious call. You can challenge that, but it's got to be done instantly. You can't wait around. I mean, as soon as that pitch comes in there and the umpire makes his call, you got to either tap your helmet or tap your hat, pitcher, catcher, or the batter. Those are the only 3 that can initiate a challenge. Can't be done from the dugout because obviously you don't have a good view of the balls and strikes there. People with the best view obviously are the pitcher, the catcher, and the batter, and us folks watching from center field. And we can't challenge. We don't have the technology to challenge that from our couch at home. But you're going to be hearing a lot about that this spring. I'm sure Dan Dickerson will be talking about it too this weekend with the Tigers on the radio here, both on Saturday and Sunday. That's going to do it for now. I've talked enough. Get out of here. I'll talk to you again on Friday night. And don't forget Saturday morning with Andy and Jed here locally on WCSR 92.1 FM, Saturday morning from 9 to 10. So until Friday, remember, please treat each other with respect. Have a good rest of your evening. And again, thanks so much for watching and listening. Good night, everybody.